Okay, good morning, friends. Welcome to Health, Wealth, and all of the things. My name is Shilamita. If this is your very first time catching me on a masterclass or a live, I'm super excited to have you here with me today. Let me just see if I can pin myself. I don't see that option here. Okay, we'll just keep going. So the way that the masterclass will work today, we're going to go for about an hour. I know that everybody has things to do, and for those people on the replay, it's kind of hard to block out time to come back and watch. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them if we have any questions. I'm going to give you a little bit of my background because there are so many new people with us today. And then I'm going to get into the masterclass. We are going to do a very short meditation activation because the energy today is like, oh, today is 9/9. There is this massive power in the number nines. It keeps coming up for me. So I figured I would relay that out into the world. We tend to attract people who are on the same journey with us, who are in the same energy as us. So that is why I chose to do this at 9 a.m. My kids this morning were like, Mommy, you're teaching so early, because I usually like to do things at nighttime, but there was just something so powerful about this 9 a.m. marker. I knew that a lot of people would be sleepless and a little cranky and might need a little shift in energy. So that's the way that we are going to send you off today. And then after that, I'm going to share with you a new offer, something that I am hosting for the very first time. I've never done anything like this before. So I am super excited to do that with you and for you. So for those of you that are new, my name is Shilamita, like I said before. This masterclass is called Health, Wealth, and All the Things because you could be healthy and not be wealthy, and that's just kind of no fun, right? Because in this life, we need money to do things. And let's face it, in the world that we're living in today, right now, we need a lot of money with the way that inflation is going and things are going up all the time. You could be wealthy and not be healthy. And so that's no fun either, right? You can have all the money in the world, but be sick, have autoimmune, be depressed, have anxiety. And then what fun is it to have wealth without the health, right? And then there's everything in between. So I am 43 years young. I have experienced all of the things. I have experienced wealth. I've experienced poverty and everything in between. And I can tell you it's definitely much more fun to have wealth. It is definitely more exciting to live in a lifestyle like that. A little bit about me. I was actually born in the Ukraine. My parents migrated here when I was 4 months old. We got to America when I was 6 months old. I grew up in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. I'm still in New Jersey. I have had so many careers. There is going to be a book called 30 Careers by 30 Years Old at some point. I am a best-selling author. It's one of the things that I manifested a long time ago. I have 3 books if you have never seen them before. One is called 31 Days of Gratitude, Create the Life You Desire. It's actually an interactive journal. I'm sure a lot of you on this call have that one. I have another book called From Food Stamps to First Class. That one is the autobiography of my life, and it's also a personal development book. So every chapter has affirmations. It's really amazing if you need a kick in the booty. If you are familiar with Rachel Hollis, Girl Wash Your Face, she inspired this book. So it's written in a very similar manner, and it's a super easy read. If you enjoy listening to me, you'll be able to read it really fast because I write exactly like I speak, and the book just flows. My third book is called I Am Grateful for My Life, and it is a children's book. And if you could see the theme between the books, my theme is gratitude. And, you know, I grew up in a middle-class family, I would say. I didn't have a lot of luxury. My parents didn't understand American living. We didn't eat out. Their whole thing was travel. So once a year we would go away on vacation. Once a year we would do a staycation. And they kind of saved all their money for that. And real estate, I never had the things that other kids had. I always wanted. I was always jealous. I had a lot of envy growing up. And so that drove me to start working really young. I started working when I was 9 years old. That happened out of default because my brother and his friends were getting a job. I was able to lie about my age and get the job with them. And then I became an entrepreneur at 21 years old. So I've been running my own businesses for the last 22 years, you know, with a little times in between where I needed to get a job to supplement some of those businesses. I have also dabbled in the world of MLM and direct sales. So I have that underneath my belt too. So I have a wide variety of skill sets that I acquire, and we all do. It's just, how have you been raised to know that you have those skill sets? Because in the American education system, let me know if anybody here is not from America. I know there's a lot of other countries that are on my news feed, which I love. But in the American education system, we're kind of taught to be robots, right? We go into the school system and everybody's got to do the same thing day in, day out. It's like this whole system that you're supposed to follow, memorize, repeat, memorize, repeat. And they put us into like a box, and we're just supposed to conform to that box. So it took me a really long time to realize that I don't fit into a box. I was telling somebody a story the other day about fashion. When I was younger and I was in elementary school, I used to get made fun of like really bad for my clothes. And, you know, like I said, I didn't have things when other kids got them. I don't know if anybody remembers Z Cavariccis. I begged my parents for Z Cavariccis, but they were like, I don't know, $85, $90. They would never spend that kind of money on pants for me. I ended up getting Z Cavariccis when they were out of style and they were on the clearance rack at Daffy Dan's. Anybody remember that store? And I was mortified to wear them. But at that point, my mom had already bought them for me and she expected me to wear them. So that's how I grew up. I have a distinct memory in the 4th or 5th grade on the first day of school. Good morning, Kim. I showed up to school so confident, thinking, oh my God, everybody's going to love my outfit. I had on pink capris with a red and navy blue striped Donald Duck t-shirt. We must have gone somewhere that summer or something that I got that shirt. And I just thought, like, the girls are going to love this. They're finally not going to make fun of me. And sure enough, I went to school and I heard red and pink don't match. And I don't know if you guys know anything about fashion right now, but there is a lot of red and pink combinations. Good morning, everybody. And I was just ahead of my time, right? So I didn't know that then. Obviously, it's taken a lot of personal development work for me to realize and understand that all those years when people didn't like me, when I didn't fit in, when I was trying to conform, that I was just before my time. And so if you're here with me today, I have a feeling that you might be a little bit before your time as well, because we tend to attract our own. And it's really hard to live this life when you are before your time, right? Or maybe you're a little bit slower than the rest. It's taking you a little bit more time. What we need to remember is that a lot of us live this life before, right? So those of us that have lived this life many times before, we're going to be a little bit further ahead than the people that have not. So I've spent the last 10 plus years as a licensed acupuncturist. My magic was in depression, anxiety, headaches, migraines, and fertility. I was a holistic healer. I got into holistic healing because both of my parents had cancer and the medical system, I felt, failed them. My dad ended up living 9 years, even though he was only told 2, but I truly believe inside that his will to live was stronger than anything that they gave him medically. The medicine that they gave him, the chemo and all the things, that ended up making him super sick. So in the 9 years that he was alive, it was heart attack after heart attack, stroke after stroke, kidney failure. And then my mom ended up having breast cancer twice while he was alive and once thereafter. And so one day I got an intuitive hit. It was the first time that I ever got an intuitive hit that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, and I was supposed to be helping people. I ended up at massage school first and realized I'm not going to be able to do this for the rest of my life. And then from there, I ended up in acupuncture school. And acupuncture school really changed me. When I showed up to acupuncture school, I was over 200 pounds. I was probably about 215. I was 255 at my heaviest. If you go to my Facebook or my new Instagram, 50 Shades of Shilamita, you will see what I used to look like. I was overweight my entire life, except for when I was about 23, 24. I was in a friend's wedding and it motivated me to lose a lot of weight. I also worked in a franchise company called Curves Fitness for Women. Does anybody remember those? And so I was training women 2-3 times a day, and I would work out with them. And so for the first time in my life, I got myself to a reasonable weight where I wasn't completely overweight. That friend ended up not getting married, so it was just a jump start. And then I ended up getting pregnant shortly thereafter. One of the things that I discovered with my body is that when I hit a certain weight, I am very fertile. So if anybody's trying to get pregnant and you're a little bit overweight, sometimes that's the key, is to get under a certain weight. Anyway, I digress. So in that journey of, trying to figure out what I was supposed to do in my life, acupuncture school really shifted everything for me. When I went to acupuncture school, I had tried every diet, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem. I tried some crazy crack cocaine diet pills. You name it, I tried it. The first couple of weeks of acupuncture school, I was so distraught that I ended up taking myself to an Overeaters Anonymous meeting because I just didn't understand why I couldn't lose the weight. When I got pregnant with my son, I ended up gaining 100 pounds, right? So I went from the thinnest that I ever was to gaining 100 pounds because my father passed away. And then I found out 8 weeks later that I was pregnant with my ex's baby that I broke up with 2 weeks prior. So that was a massive shock to my system. I didn't really know what to do with myself, so I ate. I would bake trays of brownies, and before the night was over, I would eat half, and in the morning I would eat the other half, and then I would just start baking again. And that's the way that I lived my pregnancy, and it was pretty bad. And I'm sure that there's a lot of you on here that can relate to eating as a way of coping with life. And it's just not the right way to live. And I'm not going to lie, I still live like that, right? Until recently, because this new journey that I'm on has shifted and changed me. I have not had a drink of alcohol in over 3 months. There was one day that I drank in the last, however many days we're at. I am on day 12 or 13 of no sugar at this point. I was also a daily pot smoker. I've stopped smoking pot. It's probably been at least a month since I've smoked pot. So if you indulge in those things, what's going to happen is you're going to have poor habits, right? Like you drink champagne and then you want to eat. You go to celebrate with a friend, you have a glass of wine, you want to eat. You do something spectacular, you want to go buy a cake or a cupcake, or we are trained to celebrate with food, right? As little kids. I remember a family member when we were a little bit younger, the kids were like doing something and she was like, "Oh, do you want a treat?" And I'm like, why would anybody call like a snack a treat? It's like a dog, right? Like we train a dog with a treat. Why would we train humans with a treat? But that actually caught on, like Playdate, right? Playdate ended up catching on and everybody started using Playdate as a thing as well. So in society, we get caught up in societal things, right? And we feel like there's something wrong with us because society says that we're supposed to be ABC, or society says that we're supposed to do ABC. And then here we are thinking, well, I don't want to do that. I don't, conform to that, right? So when I was in acupuncture school, I was broke. I was living on food stamps. I did not know how I was paying my rent from month to month. There was a week that I ate Subway sandwiches because there were these coupons that would come to my apartment, and they were $1.99 foot long sandwiches. And then they had like $1.99 breakfast. So all of my neighbors were like old people, and I would go knocking on their doors and ask them if I could take their coupons. And it's funny to me now because now I don't eat gluten, I don't eat dairy, so I would never step foot into a Subway. But that was the way that I survived. And during acupuncture school, things started to click for me. I didn't understand that we were made up of energy, right? So every single one of us is made up of energy. If you have anybody near you right now, or you can go experiment with this later, if you put your hand over their hand and you get as close as you until you start to feel the energy, you can even do it to yourself right now. You're going to feel the heat coming in between your two hands, right? So we are made up of energy. That is the way that acupuncture works. The reason why putting needles in someone actually does some kind of healing to the body is because what I'm doing is I'm manipulating the energy to take you back to the homeostasis that you were at when you first entered this world, right? So we come into this life as little babies, and we're actually happy and loving and carefree, and we've got the whole world at our disposal. And then what do they start doing to us in the hospital? They start injecting us with things. They start washing us with chemicals. And before we've even made it out 24 hours, we are already poisoned and polluted. Okay. And then we spend the rest of our lives trying to heal from that experience or from that trauma, right? A lot of women in the US have a lot of traumatic birthing stories because the medical system is just not doing things the way that they do. In other countries, when a woman has a baby, she is so taken care of. She's got like a band of women who show up to help her with the baby, to help her heal, to help her get onto her own track of life. But here it's like, oh, you had a baby, 24 hours, you're discharged, and 6 weeks later, you're expected to go back to work. For the women that have had C-sections, it's like 6 weeks later, you're only like allowed to start life again, you know, but here that's it. You got to go back to work now. So we need to start breaking down some of the paradigms that are happening in our society today. And that's some of the stuff that I do in the work that I do with women. We need to break free from what we have been trained to do, because the only way to live this life happy is to have freedom, right? So the reason why I became an entrepreneur all those years ago was because I didn't like having somebody telling me what time I had to show up to work. I didn't like somebody telling me what I had to wear to work. I didn't like going to work and being bored all day, right? Because a lot of people, that's what they're doing. They're working jobs that don't light them up. They're doing it because they're waiting to get a paycheck, and then they're getting that paycheck to go home and pay for bills. But you know, when we lived in past lifetimes, we didn't have these kinds of bills, right? Like think about it back to before we had electricity. There was no PSE&G bill or Rockaway Electric or whatever your electric company is. There was no heat bills, there was no water bills, right? People just survived off of the land. Like the reason why there's a paleo diet is because people survived off of the land. So when they needed things, they would trade with people, right? There was always a barter system, like, oh, I have the skill set. I can sew you a sweater. Can you bake me a bread, right? Or I can bake the bread. Can you fix my shoes? Or, hey, I need a ride to, you know, as we progressed in life and things started to come about, then we had vehicles, then we had this, then we had that. So we're constantly living in an evolution of life, right? If we look at our grandparents and what they lived through, and then we look at ourselves and what we've lived through, right? My childhood was very different than childhood now. Like Christmas, I used to have such a Christmas envy because I'm a Jew. And so when I was little, everything would shut down for Christmas, right? There was no going to CVS to get a battery. There was no going to the mall to get a last minute gift. Everything was shut down on that day. But now on Christmas, you can go to the mall, you can go shopping, you can go out to eat. Like life evolves. And if we're not evolving with life and expanding ourselves to be able to bring in more, to have more, then we're not living our fullest capacity of life. Most of us have grown up thinking that we're not good enough, that rich people are bad, that money is evil, right? Tell me in the comments if you grew up thinking that. I remember when I was on food stamps and I would look at other people and see what they had. I remember thinking like, only so many people are going to be millionaires in this lifetime. Like there's only so many millions to go around. But that's not true. That's just the story that I was given, right? Or, I thought like designer things were somehow bad or a waste of money, a waste of time. Like, why would anybody need something like that, right? But the truth is that we came here to live these really amazing lives, but we've been conditioned to think something different. And so this life is all about shifting your limited beliefs. So if you saw the picture of me that I posted yesterday, the before and after, there's a really big shift that happened between the girl that was obese, that, I just didn't understand. I didn't understand that food is vital energy, that food has chi in it, which is energy, just like our bodies have energy. So when you eat something out of a package or you eat something that's fully cooked, right, that you're killing the nutrients in there, you're killing the chi energy from that. But if you were to walk outside and you were to grab an apple off of a tree and you were to eat that apple, I mean, we're going into apple season right now. When you go apple picking, that you pick that apple off the tree and you eat it, it's the juiciest, freshest, most, I want to say, titillizing taste that you've ever tasted, right? It's like this sensation of like, wow, because you're literally eating something that's so alive, right? And we are so alive. So our bodies need this live energy in order to feed us. One of my favorite affirmations is I am grateful that I'm aging backwards. And as you can see, I think I look pretty good for 43. If you look at pictures of me 10 years ago, I feel like I looked older then than I do now. And the reason is because the older I get, the more knowledge I acquire, the better I take care of myself, the more I feed myself with energy, with healing, with this vital force that fuels us, right? If you're eating stuff out of a package all day, you're not getting any kind of energy. You're just sustaining yourself to be alive, but you're not living. There's a difference between being alive and there's a difference between living, right? So my ex and I, my son, oldest son now is 15 years old. My ex and I split when he was 18 months. And from 18 months until 4 years old, in that time period that I ended up going to acupuncture school, I started doing some major mindset work on myself. I started to understand that instead of being jealous and envious of other people, that if they had it, I could have it too. I didn't know how I was going to have it. I didn't know when I was going to have it, but I knew that if I just believed it, that it would come true for me. And as we can see, it came true for me. It took a lot, right? Because you have to go against every single thing that you've ever been taught. And the thing that we don't realize is we're taught by our mother and father. For some people, they don't have two parents. So whoever brought you up in this world, right? We're taught by our teachers. So sometimes we have more than one. Some people only have a few. We are taught by our coaches. We're taught by the people that we're surrounded ourselves with, but that's it, right? So if you take somebody who grew up in New York City, and then you take somebody who grew up in the suburbs of Kentucky, their knowing is going to be very different, right? Because they're only being taught by people who can only expand them as far as they've been expanded, right? So that is the difference between a person who is living on food stamps and a person who's living as a millionaire. The millionaire has had the opportunity to be expanded into this knowing, into this belief system that that could have been theirs, right? Some millionaires, they grow up in families and they inherit the money. That's a different story. But you hear all these stories about self-made millionaires. Most of them will tell you that at some point they slept in a car, they slept on a couch, right? They ate food from the garbage cans outside. I mean, I can tell you countless stories of motivational people who started from nothing to be in order to become something. And so our mindset is so important. I was in a mastermind last week and they made an offer for, you know, a new mastermind, and somebody said, I can't afford that. And I stopped using those words a long time ago. Before I ever met Ben Lover, the words I cannot afford that left my dictionary. So if you're saying that, those are words that you need to stop saying. It's not in my budget right now. It's not in my budget yet. Those are appropriate terms, because what we need to do is create a vocabulary where things are coming, where we're working towards that coming into us. Because if you're saying, I'll never have that, right? Before I shifted my mindset, I really did not think it was possible for me to be a millionaire, because I just thought that there was only so many millions in the world, and therefore all those people got it, not me, right? But then I started shifting my thinking and I'm like, okay, it started small for me when I was manifesting money. First, it started with, I'm grateful for $1,000 a week. And when I got the $1,000 a week, I was grateful for $2,000 a week. And when I got the $2,000 a week, I was grateful for $3,000 a week. And then when I got the $3,000 a week, I started shifting it to, I'm grateful for $1,000 a day. I'm grateful for $2,000 a day, right? And then I shifted the thinking until it happens, because it's like, poof, magic, right? But it's not really magic. I talk about magic a lot because it feels like magic, right? When you think something and it happens, or you create a vision board and like one by one, the stuff on your vision board starts to come to life, it truly feels like you're living this magical life. And so I have a client that recently defaulted on payments. And when I first met her, I thought that I was going to have to throw like a massive fundraiser for her, because she presented herself as like so poverty stricken, and that she lived in a trailer, and that she really had nothing, right? And I felt so bad for her. And then I met her husband, and her husband was like, we don't live in a trailer. He's like, we live in a small house. And he, like, the picture that he painted was completely different than the picture that she painted, right? And so the reason why life is so small is because she's keeping life so small, right? So when she defaulted on the payment, she happened to post pictures of her on vacation. So, and then, you know, the way that it came out was, oh, well, do I feed my kids or do I pay for the payment? So how are you showing up in life every day is what you need to start asking yourself. Are you painting the picture that you are in poverty? Are you painting the picture that you are a victim? Are you painting the picture that something is always wrong? Because some people do that, right? It's like someone gives you a compliment. Oh, I like your hair. And it's like, oh, really? Oh, it's so dirty. Oh, I haven't washed it in days. Oh, I haven't had a haircut in a week. Who's guilty of that? I mean, I used to be so guilty of that. And part of the expansion process is being able to receive, right? So if you're looking to acquire wealth, if you are looking to become healthier, if you are looking for specific things in life, you have to be able to receive those things, right? So when I was overweight, I didn't think it was possible for me to lose the weight, because I had a family member tell me that if I didn't lose the weight by the time I was 30, that I was doomed and I was going to be fat for life. So that's what I thought. When I was approaching my 30th birthday, I went through such a crisis in myself. Like, I guess it was like a quarter-year crisis because I wasn't in my 50s yet. But I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be fat forever. Like, I'm never going to lose the baby weight. And I looked in the mirror and I despised myself. And so one of the things that I had always wanted was a breast reduction. I was very endowed. So by the time I was 17 years old in high school, I was so embarrassed of like my chest, and, it was just like massive. So when I was 30 years old, I ended up getting a breast reduction, and it changed the entire trajectory of my body. And somebody gave me a compliment, and I had just started learning about receiving compliments. And she said, "You have really nice legs." And I was like, "Really? Thank you." And so I went home and I stood in front of the mirror and I looked at my legs, and I like turned around, and then I went and got a pair of heels, and I put on a pair of heels, and I turned around and I was like, "Oh, you know what? She's kind of right. I do have nice legs." And so I started buying skirts, and I started buying dresses that went up to my knees, and I started accentuating the one part about me that I was able to hold on to that I loved, right? So it starts with one thing at a time. So you have to look in the mirror, you have to love yourself. This is where the self-love piece comes in. You have to be able to love yourself, right? And in order to love yourself, you have to be able to love what's looking back at you. But a lot of us, we grow up not knowing that we're beautiful. My mom was not one to tell me I was beautiful. My mom had her own self-esteem issues. She even says it now. "I don't know where you got this confidence from. I was never like this. You're so pretty, but I never thought that I was pretty," right? So a lot of us, especially if we have daughters, if we're not correcting ourselves in the way that we think of ourselves and the way that we project that onto others, we're going to create a society of people who are self-aware, self-conscious, self-loathing, right? Instead of confident, happy individuals. And the problem is that we spend too much time looking outside of us to find validation for the inside of us. So my core values are freedom, family, and fun, right? And so in freedom, when I say the words freedom, there is, political freedom, medical freedom. But when I talk about freedom, I talk about true, what's the word? Liberated. I don't know the word, but I mean true freedom. So when I make a decision for myself, I make a decision for myself. I don't make a decision thinking, "Oh, what's my mom going to think? What's my friends going to think? What's Ben going to think?" Right? I make a decision and I make it for myself. Because what I understand now is that I'm always ahead of my time, which means that I'm ahead of everybody else. And so if I'm ahead of everybody else, most people are not going to understand my dream, my vision, my desires, right? So if I'm going to take my vision, my dreams, my desires, and I'm going to go share them with everybody else, then they're going to talk me out of it. So how many of you have had like an amazing idea in your lifetime, but then you go and you share them with somebody else and it's like, "Oh no, they hated it," right? How many times have you been talked out of a business, talked out of a new pair of shoes, talked out of a car you wanted to buy, talked out of a vacation you wanted to go to? Being the predominant creative force in your life, 100%, Ivana. You are the co-creator of your life, right? I talk about this a lot in my content. I have literally created this entire life. Like if you come to my house, I have a backyard that I can entertain in, because if you look at my gratitude journals, I am grateful for a backyard that I can entertain in and have parties in. I am grateful for a house that has a flow that I can entertain in. I am grateful for a pool with a hot tub. I am grateful for a bathroom with a beautiful big bathtub, right? So these are all things that I actually wrote into existence. So if you're living in a tiny house or in a tiny trailer, or have you ever envisioned yourself in the house of your dreams? Or do you look at the house of your dreams and you think, "I could never have that. That's not for me"? See the shift? It's not about the how is that going to happen, right? When I was living on food stamps, there was no way I knew how I was going to get to this part of my life. I just believed inside of me that I was going to get there. My ex was very small-minded. His idea of life was to go to work all day, to drink when he came home, and to wait for the weekend so he could drink some more and watch sports and gamble away whatever money he had left. That was it. And my dreams were to travel the world and to live in a beautiful house and to do big things, right? And here he was, and I was like, this is not going to work. And a lot of you are living in situations like that, where your husband or your wife or your partner is not at the level that you are at, but you're afraid to leave. My kids started a new homeschooling pod right now, and my middle guy has really bad anxiety, like really bad anxiety. He tortures himself. I feel like he came into this life with a lot of past life things. And we started this new pod, and it's anything different is hard for him. And last year we were in a homeschooling pod where he was in a house with one room and they would go outside. That was the whole thing. In this pod, they're in a area that's more like school. There's classrooms and there's a lot of kids there, and there's transition. So he has to go from room to room. He transitions from teacher to teacher. And it's so scary for him because he doesn't know what's going to happen next. And even though we go through the schedule with him, he starts to think of the what ifs, right? What if somebody leaves me? What if somebody doesn't bring me to where I'm supposed to be? What if, right? And so we keep telling him, you have to be strong and you have to be brave. And so if you're watching this right now and you're in a relationship that's not matching your dreams, you have to be strong and you have to be brave and you have to be able to walk away. Because there's nothing worse than living out this life miserable, right? Or you're going to say to me, well, I'm just going to wait until my kids graduate from high school, right? So Ben Lover, if you guys don't know, that's my fiance. Ben Lover said that too. Before we met, he had left his wife 5 years prior. He lived out on his own for a year, but he missed his kids terrible. My man is an incredible father and the kids are like his world. And so he went back with the knowing that he was going to leave when the kids graduated from high school. And so when his youngest graduated from high school and we were driving to graduation, I had said to him, imagine if you had waited until Dylan graduated from high school. We had already been together 7 years at that point, and we had already had our 2 children together. So we wait because we're afraid of change. We wait because we think it's the best situation. We wait because we don't think there's anything better out there because of the unknown, right? My son is scared because he doesn't know. But once he gets into a routine, once things start to play out for him, he's going to be great. And the truth is, he's already great. He loves it. But he doesn't want to admit to it, because if he admits to it, he's got to break down all the stories that he's created inside. And I cannot tell you how hard it is to have an anxiety kid when in my acupuncture practice for 10 years, I can tell you hundreds of people that I helped with anxiety, hundreds, maybe even thousands, right? Or that I'm a personal development expert and I help people break down their limiting beliefs, but our children are here to reflect us, right? So when I look at him, I see a younger version of me. Even though I wasn't like that when I was his age, that's the way I was in my teens, in my 20s. So health and wealth, it all goes together, right? Because you can work on your wealth mindset and you can start to attract in the things, right? So if you start a gratitude journal, if you grab my 31 days of gratitude and you start manifesting and writing all the things down, I promise you, all of those things are coming to you. I promise you. Some things might happen like this, like magic, right? And some things may take time. Like when I started manifesting a bathtub, I've always wanted a bathtub. Okay, I've always lived in houses or apartments that have had like really small bathtubs. And I've always been a very active person. So before I did the whole holistic healing world, I was in the restaurant industry for a long time. So I was waitressing, bartending, standing on my feet. And then I got pregnant with my first son, and I gained so much weight that I would lay in this little tiny bathtub with my stomach so big, and I would like throw water onto myself because I didn't fit in the tub. And so then I would like imagine this bathtub. And I don't know if you guys remember, there was a show called, I think it was called Reverend Run, but there was this guy, Reverend Run, he was like a rapper. And at the end of the show at nighttime, he would sit in his bathtub, this huge jacuzzi bathtub with a TV in front of him. He would watch TV and he would blog on his BlackBerry. And I would sit and I would imagine myself to be him. And I'm like, I am so grateful for my bathtub that I can, you know, do whatever I want and I can watch TV. And sure enough, I manifested that in my old house. I had a bathtub with a TV, but that took, I don't know, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years to get that, right? Now things manifest quickly for me because I'm so far ahead. I understand, I break things down. I'm a manifesting magnet, but in the beginning, it takes time because you have to balance out all of the things in life, right? So if you're manifesting all of this, then you have the health part. So if you're not feeling well, or you're depressed, or you have anxiety, or you have an autoimmune disorder, or if you have joint pain, right? Your manifestations can't possibly come into you because your negative outweighs your positive, right? I manifest like this because I always feel good. My body feels good. I have energy. I'm alive. I'm not in pain. Do you know that I lived in chronic pain for 4.5 years? I used to go into my acupuncture office barely walking. And for me, whenever I work with someone, it's so healing for me that I forget about all my problems. So I would push through the day. And then at nighttime, I would go home and I would cry. And it was repeat every day. And then thank God during 2020, our whole experience, I found the most amazing chiropractor of all time. And so now I'm healed and I'm happy and I'm free, right? And with the food stuff, I told you before, I've gone through every diet. I've done juice cleanses. I've done food cleanses. I've done all of the things. Now I'm on AIP autoimmune. And if you don't clean out your gut, you can't clean out your mind. Because just like heat rises, right? We know that if you turn the heat on, heat rises. Just like that, phlegm rises in the body. So when you're eating things and it's going into your stomach and your gut doesn't like it, what's happening is it's producing phlegm, and then phlegm rises and then it congests the mind. So in Chinese medicine, it's called phlegm misting the mind. And every pattern of like schizophrenia, depression, any kind of mental disorder, there's always phlegm in there. And this is why, as an acupuncturist for all those years, I've always talked about gluten-free, dairy-free, and all of those things, because that's very healing to the gut when you're not eating that stuff, because all of that stuff is being sprayed with chemicals, right? People say, oh, I've eaten Oreos my whole life. Why now? Why should I stop now? And the reason why you're stopping now is because when we were kids, they were only putting 30% gluten into those Oreos, where now they're putting 75% gluten into those Oreos, right? When you take a package and you read the back of the package, the very first ingredient that you're reading, that first ingredient is the majority of the package. So when you turn something over and you see wheat flour, gluten, or sugar, the majority of what you're eating is wheat, gluten, or sugar. And your body breaks that down as sugar and it turns to fat. And then what does that do? It just congests your whole body. So then you have joint pain, then you have mind issues, then you have autoimmune issues, right? When somebody tells me they have arthritis, I tell them you have a gluten sensitivity. And then they're like, but I didn't come up allergic for gluten. I know you didn't come up allergic for gluten because you're not allergic to it. You're sensitive to it. So healing the body and healing the mind is an important piece of the puzzle, because once you start to feel good, then you're in a vibration to manifest all the good things, right? But if you're feeling bad, then you're manifesting all of the bad things. You're the author, you're the creator. So you're constantly in creation. So when you leave this masterclass today, I want you to go, and I want you to catch yourself every time you complain. I want you to catch yourself every time you say something negative. I want you to catch yourself every time you speak poorly in sarcasm. I'm like so sarcastic. I'm so sarcastic. But I've learned to change the sarcasm, right? I used to say to my kids, if they did something bad, I used to be like, I'm going to kill you. And then I'm like, oh my God, I can't say that. Gotta stop saying that. This is really hitting me today. I'm so glad, Heather. It's important to have these conversations because here's the thing, like people in our everyday are not having these kinds of conversations, right? Like, and these are the important conversations to have. I've been working with mentors and coaches since 2017. So I've gotten to this point, and a lot of you on this call or on the replay, you've been on this journey with me for a long time, right? You've evolved with me, but you can see my evolution. And the reason why that happens is because I always pour into myself, right? I've probably spent like close to $200,000 on personal development at this point. First of all, it's freaking crazy, right? I used to be on food stamps eating Subway sandwiches every day for $1.99. And $200,000, oh, well, you have a rich boyfriend. No, it's not because of Ben. All of that money came from me. All of my personal development comes from me. That is like one thing that is really important for me. And so I retired as an acupuncturist in November. Ben and I went on vacation in January, and it prompted me to do my travel bug masterclass for any of you that were in it, because we were in the concierge level of the Ritz-Carlton. And I'm like, people have no idea. Right? Like people have no idea that people live like this, that there's this kind of luxury that's attainable to them. Right? And the reason being is that we keep ourselves so small because the people in our everyday life, they don't know about things like that. They don't spend money on things like that. And money mindset is so big for me. I'm still working on it. I still have a hard time with it. I'm still using coupons and bargain shopping. But in that, trip that we were on, I had said to him, one of the first things that Ben had said to me when we had met, probably 6 months after we had met, he had said to me, I'm going to retire you in 12 to 24 months. I was in my 3rd year of acupuncture school. I'm like, this is great. This guy just said that he's going to retire me. I'm never going to have to work. This is amazing, right? But it wasn't amazing. That wasn't amazing for me because I need to work, right? And it didn't happen that way because he went into a 6.5-year divorce. But the way that things worked out, I was able to create my own life, my own income. I live the most incredible life. Two of the things that I hate doing is washing laundry and washing dishes. Okay. I hate washing dishes and washing laundry. So I've created my life so that I don't have to do those things. I have somebody working in my house every single day, and my system is so amazing. And again, it's not because I had a rich man in my life, because his riches were really on lockdown in a 6.5-year divorce. It's because I went to work and I started one by one taking away the tasks out of my life that I couldn't stand doing. And I started bringing in people at an affordable rate, right? We think that we need to be millionaires to have nannies, to have housekeepers, to have all the things. We don't. We just need to know how to manage our money. That client that presents herself as poverty-ish, she's not. She just doesn't know how to manage her money. So that's nobody's problem but your own, right? There was a time that I didn't know how to manage my money either. When I was 23 years old, I was a 6-figure salary earner. And then I ended up on food stamps, right? So there's a very big difference. I was 23 years old making $100,000 a year. I was a business owner. I owned a franchise by the time I was 26, 25. And then lost it all. Because we're like bathtubs. If you don't put the stopper on, everything drains. So you got to put the stopper on. All right. So now I want you guys to close your eyes. Rub your hands together. Take a few deep breaths. Come into the space with me. Take 3 deep inhales and exhales. Okay, now you're going to open up your eyes. I'm going to show you a clearing because the energy is like really wonky. We're just entering Mercury retrograde right now, so we're going to need a little bit. Hillary, you're welcome, Hillary. Catch the rest later. So I want you to rub your hands. We're going to do a clearing. You're going to rub your hands. You're going to rub your third eye. You're going to go over the top, behind your back chakra, in front of your throat, and you're going to shake it off. Okay? Inhale in, rub your hands, wipe the third eye, go over the crown chakra, go behind your throat chakra, in front of your throat chakra, and shake it off. One more time. Hands together, third eye, over the top, behind the neck, in front of the neck, shake it off. Okay? Take a deep breath in, close your eyes. Now you've cleansed yourself and you've made the connection stronger. I want you to sit, or if you're laying down, you're going to open up your hands and you're going to allow your body to relax. You're going to take a few deep breaths in. And as you're breathing, I'm going to invite in the angels, the spirit guides, the gods, the goddesses, anyone out there, the highest truth and compassion, to come into the space with us, to protect us from one another, to protect us from ourselves. Take a deep inhale in. And as the guides are coming in, there's also an opening of white light that's coming in with them. And this beautiful white light is pouring down over you right now. With your hands open, you're allowing yourself to receive this infinite goodness of beautiful white light. This white light represents protection, strength, healing, love, happiness, kindness, compassion. Breathe in all the goodness, feel all the guides surrounding you, giving you the biggest hug ever. You are so safe. You are so supported right now. Your hands are getting hot and tingly, maybe. Breathing in, allowing for this white light to just pour over your head, over your shoulders, as your shoulders are relaxing. Allowing the white light to pour into your arms and hands, into your hips, into your knees, into your legs, into your feet, grounding into the floor. Allowing yourself to ground. And on your next inhale, your angels, your guides, the gods, the goddesses, whoever was around you is moving away from you. And as they're moving away from you, they are expanding this white light that's around you. And they are creating this bubble of expansion. And this bubble of expansion is representative of your growth that's going to happen after this masterclass today. Imagine this white, beautiful light bubble that you are now in the center of, and allowing for it to expand. Expanding so big and so wide, allowing for you to hold more health, more wealth, more things, more pain, followed by love, more happiness with the sadness, more joy with anger. It's a duality, and we're able to hold it all. Take a deep breath in, feel the tingles, feel the lights, feel the protection, feel the strength that's pouring through you, allowing yourself to receive. You are worthy, you are enough, and you are able and capable of anything that you wish and desire in this life. Nothing is out of your reach. Everything is yours in due time. This expansion is going to help you make that move that you've been sitting on, help you leave that husband you've been wanting to leave, help you take that job you've been wanting to take, help you start that business, start that diet. Something's been blocking you, and now those blocks are being removed, and it's being filled with motivation, succession, capability, desire. Take another really deep inhale in. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Thank the guides for being here with you today. Hold that bubble of light that you're surrounded in. And when you are ready, you are going to open up your eyes. Ah, so good. What a shift. Tell me how you feel in the comments. And now for my newest program. So this is something that I've never offered before, so I'm super excited. So amazing, haven't done that in a while. Wow, that was so emotional for me, thank you. Ah, it's so good, I feel so good, feels so good, feels so good, feels so good. And look, today is it's a good day to have a good day. Great, thank you, awesome. Okay, so keep putting the comments in there. If you have any questions, pop your questions into the comments too. So what is coming up next? What is coming up next is called Total Mind Body Reset. It is a transformational mastermind that I am hosting. I have never hosted a mastermind before, but in all of these years, the most powerful thing that I've ever done is I've joined masterminds. And the reason being is that mentorship is amazing, right? One-to-one mentorship is great, to have somebody who wants you to succeed, to have somebody who sees you from a different light than you see yourself. But being in a sisterhood is a whole different experience. And so I've always been afraid of Voxer. Do you guys know what Voxer is? Voxer is an app on your phone that you download. It's free. It's like a walkie-talkie. So you talk into it, you leave messages, and then people can respond to your messages. You can tag people so that they know that the message is for them. And so I've always been like weary of it and afraid of it. But just recently I finished a Voxer mastermind and I loved it. So I decided to incorporate that. So what you will get in the Total Mind Body Reset, it's going to be 3 Zoom calls. We are going to do an opening call on September 19th. It's all the 9s. We're working with the 9s, the power of the 9. When you get off this call, I want you to go Google the spiritual meaning of the number 9. So there's going to be an opening call with live Q&A. That is going to be all about food, mindset, and habits. What I'm going to do is I'm going to offer up 3 different detox options for food. There's going to be a beginner, there's going to be an intermediate, and then there's going to be an extreme. So extreme is where I am at now, and then there's everything in between, right? So for those of you that took Lifestyle Upgrade with me, this is Lifestyle Upgrade times 20, okay? We will do a midway call. That's going to be 2 weeks in. And then we're going to do our closing call on October 21st. Okay. So it's going to be 3 calls. It's 33 days that we're going to be together. You are going to get a one-on-one call with me. So we're going to do a 30-minute one-on-one deep dive into your life. I'm going to see where you are at with your food practices. I'm going to see where you are at with your daily rituals, with your mindset, you know, how you react to things, all the things. And then we're going to create a plan of action individually for you. And then you're going to be a part of the group. So there's individualized work in this, and then there's group work in this. Okay. Voxer, you're going to have unlimited support on Voxer, and that's on everything, right? So there's the food aspect of it, where we're going to teach you how to heal your mind, heal your body, and you're going to be supported in that. And then there's going to be the Voxer aspect of it, which is anything goes in Voxer. So in Voxer, we could talk about family, we could talk about business, we could talk about sex, we could talk about healing, we could talk about, you know, your kids are driving you nuts, anything that you need to unload, that's going to be where you're going to do it. And you're going to get support from me, and you're going to get support from the sisterhood for it. So that is like, you don't know, it is so life-changing to be in a container like that. Also, I'm going to teach you how to detox your entire life. So you're going to not only learn how to detox your body, you're going to learn how to detox the home. You are going to learn how to detox your social media. You are going to learn how to detox your workplace, your friend list, everything, right? Because you could be doing all of this work, but then every night you're going to your neighbor's house and the neighbor is talking trash about everybody else on the street and filling you up with nonsense all the time. That's not going to work. You are going to get an incredible package from me, multiple packages actually, with over $600 worth of gifts that is going to help you in this transition of life. And I'm going to be there with you every step of the way to help you with it. And you are going to get a bonus call. The bonus call is going to happen in November. So we're going to end October 21st. And then in November, after my wedding, getting married on 11/11, after the wedding, we are going to do a recap where we are all going to come together. We're going to see how you survived on your own. And we're going to give you some pep in your step before we enter into holiday season, right? Because holiday season tends to get hard. It's super cold. If you live on the East Coast, we go into seasonal depression. So we're going to do all of those things. Bonus. By signing up today, you also get put into the 14-day, and now it's up to 16 experts. If you heard me talking about it the other day, in my Pure Haven world, we are doing a 14-day, 16 expert detox experience. So in there, every single day, there's going to be a speaker. And there is a speaker on gut health. There's a speaker on autoimmune. There's a speaker on yoga. There's a speaker on fitness. There's a speaker on healthy lifestyle. So you're going to get put into that for free. And that is incredible. It is thousands of dollars worth of expertise that you definitely want access to. And I think I covered everything. So if you have any questions, drop them below. If you are a Pure Haven consultant and you want to do this detox transformation mastermind, let me know, because you'll get a discount for being on the team. And the price of this is $1,999 for the next 24 hours. The 9s, we had to stick with the 9s. In 24 hours, it's going to go up to $2,222. And then on the 15th, it's going to go up to $2,400. And that's the way it's going to be for the future. If you were to go do a diet, like the Sprint Set diet that I did last year was $2,500, and there was no mastermind aspect. There was no sisterhood aspect. There was no gifts, right? All you get is the diet. This is what you follow, and you can call us if you have a problem. So this is a combination of health, wealth, and all the things in between. You are going to get lots of gifts and goodies from me. I'm going to love on you like never before. And then there's a VIP option. The VIP option is a 90-minute call with me. So in addition to your 30-minute call, you will get to do a 90-minute call with me. On that 90-minute call, we will do a full health history. We will do a full business evaluation if you own a business, and we will cover everything. And then you will have 5 days of one-to-one Voxer access to me. So you are getting me in your back pocket for the next 33 days to help you through all the things, everything, every aspect of life. This is going to be so exciting. I can't wait. So we start on September 19th. We end on October 21st, and then our bonus call will be in November. I highly suggest signing up for it right away. If you sign up for it in these next 24 hours, we will schedule your first 30-minute next week. If you sign up for the VIP option, which I'm only doing for 3 people, the VIP option is $999. It is half price. I usually charge $1,800 for the 90-minute deep dive and healing with me. Oh, included in the mastermind as well is a group healing. So what we just did was like a mini healing. We're going to do a group healing, and we're also going to have a guest speaker. So that's also something that I forgot to talk about. And then in your one-to-one with me in the 90 minutes, we're also going to do an individualized healing for you. And that will be recorded so that you could go back to that and listen to that at any time. So that'll be for 3 people, and then the price will go up for that. And Nicole, did I miss anything? Nicole dropped the link for that below. So if you sign up for it today, we will get you scheduled for next week. If you do the VIP option, we'll do your 90-minute call next week. If you can't do it next week, we'll schedule it for the week after. And then we'll save your 30-minute call for later down the line so that you can do the deep dive first, and then we could take your 30-minute call and we could do a recap at the end. So I thank you for joining me today. This was awesome. That activation was amazing. I feel really good to go on with my day. If you have any questions, drop them below. Like I said, if you're a Pure Haven rep, reach out to me so I can let you know what we could do for you. If you're interested in being a Pure Haven rep, let me know about that too. And that's it. I love you guys. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for being on this journey with me. If you are interested, I am teaching my monthly paid masterclass next week. It is called Desire. These are amazing. There's the Masterclass Pass where you can join us for the rest of the year. There's September, October, November, December. There's 4 left for the year. Or you could just purchase the one class. So that's really great too. Those are anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes. We usually do the topic. There's a Q&A. Sometimes I do a meditation. It really depends on what we're working on. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being there. I wish you an amazing rest of the day. I hope that Mercury retrograde is easy for you. Remember, you can come back to this clearing anytime you need to. That's for you to use on your own. And my wish is for all of our dreams to come true. See you. Bye.